before my session there, I was into a corporate world. So I had a network that time. Then from corporate world, suddenly I moved to entrepreneurship. The year was 2013. So what happened to my network? It became zero. Because the corporate network doesn't really work in entrepreneurship network. So what did I do for the next 3 months? I went to n number of events. Any events. I became like an event junkie. At the end of 3 months, when I just looked into my bag, the handbag, which is full of cards, how many of you would have cards inside your, just give me a shout out here, guys, if you have full of cards in your handbags, So that's the way we have cards. So I was cleaning my bag, and I remember even today, I brought out 363 cards. When I was looking them one by one, I had no clue where I met them, how I met them, what is the context, why did we exchange cards, how do I respond back to them. That's when it struck me that I sucked in networking. I was not collecting the references, I was not creating a network, I was just creating a hell lot of cards. So since then I have stopped giving cards. I don't give cards to anyone. What I do is, I actually would like to extend from what Roshni said, that first thing first, intention is right. I went to these networking events thinking that I'm going to get something out of it. Let me get something out of it. And I would approach it like a business deal. That is not how networking works. It has to be a ripple effect. And that I realized only after losing all these 360 references that I had, and I had no clue how did I miss those, right? So what I started doing instead is that I started connecting with them on one-on-one. In the sense, I would ask them, okay, what do you do? Where do you belong from? What are your interests? The questions that open up conversation. Everybody has travel interests, food interests, place interests, and hobbies interests. If you're interested enough, you can also talk about politics. Right? But be careful that if their interest is not matching with you, you don't end up into a fight. So you lose them forever, exactly. So be careful there, right? So it's important that you figure out what are their interests are and you connect at a larger level. Now this morning I met somebody and 2 of them may be vouching here, they're sitting here after, just meeting me 10 minutes before. Thank you so much. That's the power of Heartful networking. And what I just told them is that, listen, I don't carry cards. I'm going to connect to you in LinkedIn right away. Is that okay? So they said yes. And they're here, sitting, listening to us. Isn't that what you want from networking? So find out what is that you're looking from networking. If it is the connections that will work for you in a multiple level, then think from that perspective. Don't look it into a lead. That, okay, I'm going to get business from this person. Maybe this person will tell somebody else, and somebody else, and somebody else. And they will become your network as well. And that's what happens when you do the right way of Heartful networking. Point number 1 is that. Second point is, when you're connecting, leave an anchor with them. Now, what is an anchor? An anchor is something that will remind them about you anytime. Say you sent a LinkedIn mail out to them or LinkedIn connection request to them whom you have met here. How would they remember you? What is that they would remember? What is the unique thing about you? Think about it. What is that unique thing about you that they will remember when you are reaching out to them after WEF to find this? Is there something that you can plant in their head about yourself? For me, I always plant saying that I'm a very jovial and fun-loving person. I would start with a joke whenever I talk to somebody. So that's my anchor. And I do it with every single new person that I meet. It's natural today, but I had to plant it initially. So figure out what is your uniqueness that you want to plant in others' head to remember you. When they remember you, when you are in their mind space, automatically they will think about you when a right opportunity comes in. Point number 3, how do you then nurture that same connections? right? Today we made a LinkedIn connection. Today we met in WEF. But what about tomorrow? What can we do tomorrow to nurture that same, connection? What are the things? Today's social media is very smart. You don't need to be. So just keep in mind when they have done something new. You will get to see. They've moved to a new position, or their birthday is coming up, or their anniversary is coming up. You will get to see in your, wall that, okay, there's something new that they have done. Probably they have had an interesting haircut, or they are wearing a nice outfit. What goes in just, yeah, that was to you, Minku. Right?
That was my Instagram.
So do that. Just send one 30 seconds message, or maybe just 10 seconds to say, hey, you look amazing. While I was coming to this room today, I saw someone wearing a beautiful pink, a foreigner wearing a beautiful pink kurta and pajama, and she was looking pretty. I just said, hey, this pink is looking so beautiful on you, you're looking so pretty. Now next time when I meet her, she'll remember my face, and then we can connect better. So these are some of the things. Now tell me, I would like to have this a little bit of an interactive session. So what is networking to you? Anybody? Open.
Connectivity beyond just exchanging the card, like you said. It's reaching out to that person and making a connect.
Correct.
Rather
Correct.
than a network.
Right. Anybody? Yes.
Creating a friendship, basically. That's what
Oh
I
yes.
do.
Oh yes. Absolutely. Because unless you make friendships, strong friendship, professional friendships, how you expect them to help you? One thing I've realized in my 8 years of entrepreneurship is that unless you have strong friends in the professional space, you wouldn't be going to the next level. Entire business, entire entrepreneurship works on connections, works on networking. So that is very, very important. Any other thoughts? Anything that you would want to share? Yes.
I would just share, as I was growing up, I would watch my dad, and he's a classic networker, he's very good at it. So what he would do is just reach out for help. If he needs something, he would just reach out to his connections for help. And that's a way to keep that connection going. If you know somebody who can help you, and eventually they might come to you for help, and then you help them. So so I think just to not to let that connection die. You would just pick up the phone and he would have no qualms and just calling up and saying, hey, how are you doing? I need this help from you, and I can see how he's maintained those connections over the years. They invite each other for weddings and parties and whatever. So maybe that's something.
That reminds me, it's a very, very important and a valid point, and I was missing it out. Thank you for bringing it back. So while you're seeking help from others, so this is something that I have also realized while I network heartfully these days with people, that when you reach out to people saying that, how can I help you? Is there any way I can help you? What help can I be to you? And when you say that, people open up a lot better. And the power of reciprocity also comes into the picture. Because when you have helped someone, they are obliged and bound to help you back. And they'll find a way to help you back. Now, can you see how it grows that way? It grows exponentially, isn't it? Right? Somebody else also wanted to say something. Right?
I was about to say something very similar. One thing is the way I define networking is the network are people who I feel confident to pick up the phone and ask for help.
Yes.
If I cannot pick up the phone and reach out or
Yes.
feel that confidence that the person is going to help me, that's not really a network.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've seen so many people having 5,000 plus, 6,000 plus friends in LinkedIn, and they keep posting about it. I know so many people in LinkedIn, etc. And then they come up and say that, listen, I don't have anybody to seek help from. I'm like, okay, how is it even possible? That's not worth it in that case.
And
Srijata, I
One second.
have one thing that I would like to point out.
Yeah.
Where she picked it up. While it is a good idea to say, how can I help you? It is also a good idea to seek help.
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
when you seek help, you're giving the other person an opportunity.
You're showing your vulnerability. You're right. Yes.
Unvulnerable.
Yes,
They
yeah.
are giving you an opportunity, and reciprocity comes in that way.
Absolutely. I totally agree
I'm
with
not
that.
saying look at people with dollar signs in your eyes, but if, if somebody, it is always a good idea.
True, very true.
I think the most challenging though is when someone's in multi-level marketing.
Oops,
And
yeah.
then, here you're talking about exchange of health, physical health, connectivity health, but when some people chase you with products, one life and I'm ways, then it becomes very challenging, and I think in those cases you have to be a person of a specific, I don't want to say thick skin, because seriously they're loving what they're doing and they're doing the networking, but it has to be a person whose approach is so different, relentless, persistent, and those are the kind of people sometimes we all duck from.
Yeah.
Behind pillars.
Yeah.
So, that's there.
So I think, so multi-level marketing in that sense, without any offense here, they've taken networking to a level where it has become, they say in Hindi there is a proverb, I'm going to translate that as well, it's called nimbu ko ab zyada nichodo, to wo bitter ho jata hai. So basically if you squeeze the lemon too hard, it becomes bitter. It doesn't remain sour anymore. What it means is that if you harp on the same thing again and again and again and again and again, then it becomes painful for others. And when it becomes painful for others, then they run away from you. So
it's a pity, because that's
absolutely
the pulse of that business.
Absolutely.
I actually am not criticizing, I admire them.
Right.
Because it takes a certain kind of person to be able to do that.
True, very true,
I
very
admire
true.
them.
Very true. You were saying something?
Yeah, in 1991,
Uh-huh.
in Bangalore today, I was traveling the train.
Mm-hmm.
I met a group of students,
Mm-hmm.
and I just took photographs of them. My son had got a president award, so we were traveling there.
Mm-hmm.
And I just took photographs of them, and I forgot about that in 1991. One of them, he's been following me on my Facebook of my whatever I was doing. And he calls up last week and he says, "Ma'am, I've been following you. I want my kids to meet you." And now he's sending a car tomorrow, and he's in Delhi. And he says, "I want you to come home." So he said, "I'll send the car." It's in 1991, just a few hours.
That's the power of heartful networking.
Yes.
And
no connections, no selling, no networking.
yeah.
It's just that he kept following me.
And that reminds me another thing that I would like to bring up on here, that when you are in confinement, not a forced confinement, I'm not saying you're in jail, but when you are in confinement, like for example in this room, we know each other now and we would probably like to connect with each other. Or when there is a safe atmosphere, like a train journey, you have nothing else but to talk to other person, right? That's how you entertain those days. Today you have phone and other things, but those days you would be entertaining yourself by talking to each other and knowing the other person, right? So that's how the connections got built up. But today it's a different thing. So when you are in confinement, know that the connection happens better and quicker, provided you have that open mind. So that's what from me. Any other questions, any other points that you would like to? Yes, I love this.
Yes, one small thing I wanted to mention that works for me. Like if I meet somebody and that person and I need to connect. And then, if that person wants something from me, I'm a media person, so I should be charging for everything that I do. If it's a corporate thing. If it's a freelancer, somebody like me, I will always give my first service for free. Like something very small. It could be like one
Yes.
of the biggest thing I will do for them.
Yes,
But
yes.
that thing is just like to say thank you for being my friend. Let's work. Let me show you what I do. If you like what I do, then we can go on to bigger projects.
Yes.
But I don't try to put a dollar sign to everything that I do at the first level. Obviously, if you ask me to do a 2-hour show, then it's a different thing because that's very, very expensive, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you just want me to do like a 1-minute clip or a 30-second clip, I'm like, what, I'll send my guys, I'll do it for you. Let's see if we can work together. So that also gives you a little bit of a better feel than me
Yes.
just chucking an invoice on your face and say, what, these are my days, this is how I do work.
Yes, I totally agree with you on that. In fact, I follow the same thing. I run a fashion entrepreneur. I'm a fashion entrepreneur. I run a brand which makes customized clothes for professional women. And I also consult with women that how do they build their wardrobe for who they are, not for who some other person is and they want to just emulate them. So that is something that I do. So as a practice, I do the same thing too. That whenever I find someone in distress saying that what do I do? What do I wear today? I have this event. I don't say no, I charge this much for my 15 minutes consultation. So I don't say that, right? I just simply tell them, and just because they're so happy with it, they're going to tell that to 10 more people, and those 10 more people are going to tell to 10 more people. That's how you increase your net worth or network. Network is equal to net worth today's world, right? So it's a very, very valid point that you have brought up. I think all of us should take note and start doing that ourselves. Two of you wanted to say something as well.
So I wanted to share a perspective and perhaps find it contrary to what we've been discussing.
Sure.
I think as women, when we talk about heartful networking, that is a preferred mode of networking, right? We really don't differentiate between personal and professional boundaries. Even if you are meeting someone for professional reasons, you want a personal connect in that network. Being an entrepreneur for 8 years and moving from a corporate to entrepreneurship role, we might have started our journey around the same time. I realized that it is important to differentiate between personal networks and professional networks.
Okay.
Yeah. Professional networks are something that you might build, where you might not really have a very deep heart-to-heart connection, but you know that there is an opportunity to collaborate. The second, so we run a community of women leaders, and after having worked with almost 1,000 of them over the past 3 years, we also realized that a key challenge for us as women is how to make those networks work for us.
True.
So networking is fine, establishing relationships is fine, but how to make that network work for you professionally is a different ballgame.
Yes.
And perhaps you would like to throw light on that.
Yes, so that's a good point that you brought in. And you want to say something before I say something?
Yes, I just wanted to add. There is a difference in professional networking in terms of they could be, I could design who do I want to get involved with, and it's not only face to face. So if I want some information in a certain area, I could go, I could check who's the best person, follow them, find out about them, write to them, send a link to invite. So there can be planned networking also.
Yes.
And today with LinkedIn, with social media, it is a possibility to look down, have a strategy of networking and put it in practice.
True. So, and I would agree with that. In fact, I would agree with you as well. And that it's important that you realize that what is your personal network and what is your professional network. In my experience, I have seen that sometimes when you really do the networking right, when you really do heartful networking, when you're transforming that network and you're taking it forward, the professional network, while working on profession, they still become a friend. Minku is an example. How many months back did we meet, Minku?
In fact, when we started on the project together,
Yeah.
we are together in the plenary on the 15th
Yeah.
at 4 o'clock, and I invited Srijata because I'm the moderator for that plenary, and I hadn't even met her. We are members of ALL
Yes.
Bangalore,
Yeah.
and she had just popped up, and I saw and I sensed, but that's me, I sense energies. And I sensed her gregariousness, and I just said, okay, she's the one because I was choosing my plenary members, and I said she's the one I wanted. So I think just ALL as well, we have to be very thankful about it because it's formed so many synergies.
So true.
So we
So true.
connected even before meeting face to face.
She's the one who put us together.
Yes, absolutely.
And I
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
them together to
Yeah.
share a room.
Yeah.
So actually you
I would
reach
like
out.
to add to that point. So we touched briefly upon similarities.
Yes.
So there was a similarity that you both belonged to one particular platform. So it was easier for you to create that
Yeah,
synergy.
but it's a takeaway from what Srijata said, that you put yourself out there as who you are. Let people know,
Yes.
so I wanted someone from a corporate trainer background for that topic, and I just said she completely fits the bill. Now, if you do not take initiative and network and don't put yourself out there,
The true you, the
people-
real you.
Yeah, people miss out. And there's always someone standing right behind you to take that opportunity.
So true.
I
So
want to
true.
share one small example, very recent. It popped up in my mind
Uh-huh.
because you talked. Very recently, I was traveling from Delhi to Hyderabad
Right.
for a coaching session. So I was at the aisle. There was somebody in the middle. I saw him reading a book. It looked interesting. So I just said hi. I noticed you're reading the book. He said, that's very interesting. I said, what do you do? And he said, he's working in a company. I cannot still pronounce the name. So it is, for me, it's Boo Group. That's how their email goes. So we started chatting. It just started from there. And then he asked, what's coaching, blah, 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 blah. Fine. And I said, why don't you connect me to your L&D manager? He said, my L&D manager is sitting right there.
Whoa.
I said, okay. I said, when I get off, I'm going to shoot an email. And when I left it at that, we got off. We were there for 3 days. I shot that email. And I thought, I'll come back and talk about it. On the way back, guess what? We're in the same plane. And the L&D manager decided that he's going to finish business right here.
Lovely, lovely.
And
So that's how, okay, I would like to add that to that you don't really need to space it out in terms of saying that, okay, only when I go to an event, I'm going to network. You can network anywhere, anytime, any place. I have even networked in hospitals. When I was going for my own delivery, I was sitting in the lounge. Seriously, I'm not kidding. I was sitting in the lounge getting ready for my cesarean, and somebody comes up and says, okay, well, I was just talking over the phone, and he just chills out. He said, why are you sitting here? I said, I'm just getting ready for my delivery, and they're like, what? What did you just say? You're just going for your delivery now and you're just so chilled out? Then we just connected and we became friends for life. So you can pretty much build connections anywhere and everywhere if you have that open mind and that receptivity to talk to. At the same time, it's important to understand dangerous signs. I've had them. Recently. Yes. Recently I had been to an event called Professional Speakers Summit India. That was the annual maiden event. That was the first event that happened for professional speakers in India. And I had been there. After coming back from there, I was getting a deluge of friends requests on Facebook and LinkedIn and everywhere else, right? So, among those, there were a couple of people. There were a couple of people who I thought I knew them. I've seen them in the event. Maybe I've just seen them face to face, maybe just, passing by face. And they connected. And the next thing they ask is it too early to take you out for a dinner or a date? I was like, yes. So,
Can we communicate 6 months and still ask me?
if I find you worthy enough to do that, no, I'm a one-woman man. one man woman, so I don't do that. I would like to hear from you.
Yeah, I again have a contrary view, not view really, but more of a question or
Right.
Your suggestion on that. That frankly, all of us are not extroverts.
Yes.
It is also true that obviously it feels wonderful in these women groups, and again you pitched on the right point. Safety. This feels very safe. But we'll click pictures, we'll smile. It gets kind of blurred and lost over time.
Oh, it's true.
So these are the these are the things that we don't say, but this is like we all realize that
True.
it's going to happen. Also, if I just tell very briefly about my curve, I'm an actuary by profession, and last 3 years back I left my day job to become a writer. I got published, etc. And this writing circle now I realize, obviously is a very different circle than obviously entrepreneurship. English masters, English majors, journalists, it's a very close circle, and it's like. Really speaking, you scratch my back, I scratch your back in terms of the newspaper links, like your book comes out, I review, my book comes out, you review, etc. Though I have been extremely, I would say fortunate, lucky, blessed to have got very well received in terms of whatever. But I want to ask this: that how to penetrate into these inner circles? On your merit, definitely, as they say, your career growth depends on your talent. But it also depends on relationship.
Yes.
Now your talent can only, obviously, it's like walking on one leg. But the other leg, which is the relationship, and
in most industries, entrepreneurship is something where everyone needs help, so there is a propensity to help and to reach out. But existing circles, inner circles, how to penetrate them?
So this is what I did to penetrate into the inner circle of entrepreneurship, and I think this could be useful in any circle for that matter. So there was a time when I wanted to, if you guys are aware of Indian startups and Indian startup PR and media firms, Your Story is a big thing, right? Today, Shraddha Sharma, the founder of Your Story, finds it very difficult to meet anybody and everybody. So about 5 years back, I wanted to catch up with her. I wanted to personally connect with her. So here is what I did. I hunted down which are the events that she was going to, and which among those was easy enough to penetrate and go and talk to her, have a conversation. So I found that out. It was a startup Saturday. In Bangalore has lots of startup events that keeps happening every weekend. So I was lucky in that sense. So I found out that she was speaking in a panel that day, and she would be there post the panel. So what I did is I parked myself in a strategic place where she has to pass me through. And when she came down, I said, hi Shraddha, how are you? And she's a very, very, very nice person. She's a very, very down-to-earth person. Even today, we just hug each other every time. Recently, I was there in one of her events, and she just came in like, "Tu kya kar rahi hai?" And I'm like, "What are you doing?" Very casually talking to. Now, how that happened? So I went and started talking to her. Now I come from West Bengal. I come from West Bengal, a state of India, which is close to another state where she lives in, which is like next to next state to each other, and there is a camaraderie there happening there, So when she started talking, she's from Bihar, by the way. So when we started talking in her mother tongue, and we started talking in Bhojpuri. And how do I know Bhojpuri? Because my grandparents lived in Bihar. So I brought out that connection, started talking to her in Bhojpuri, and created that bonding between her and me in that day. Then I reached out to her through Twitter, through LinkedIn, through Facebook, everywhere else. And I started talking to her and this and that. So much so that for the next 2-3 years, till she becomes this busy, I would say, every now and then, whenever she found a nice tip about my business, she would reach out to me. She would send me a mail. So this is something that can be utilized for other businesses or other areas as well. Like for example, if you want to say meet Amish Tripathi, he was yesterday there, right? So you have to find a time to go and talk to him and build that relationship. Very important part of it is to find out that similarity. That similarity is very, very, very important to find out. I think you are a Bengali, aren't you? I figured it out. So we can connect in that bonding, right? If I start talking to you in Bangla, right now you will start, becoming friendly with me immediately, right? Even though, exactly, it'll go inside, right? So that's finding out that, it becomes more important for us to be observant, what their backgrounds are, what their likings are, what kind of beliefs do they have. If we start believing on those and start talking on those lines, automatically we start connecting with them better.
I have another suggestion.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need somebody to help you break into a circuit, right? So once you make that one connect, they are circuit in which they can introduce you.
Yes.
Right? But it's very important for you to add value to them also.
Yes.
So you see, we are talking about professional networking. And how can you add value? Is a big question. Even supporting anything that they do is also adding value. So it should be, so if they introduce you to let's say, to a network, by your presence there, it should add to them. They should not be a stepping stone.
Yes. Very true. Very true. So all it boils down to how can you be in the mind space of that person. The more you are there in the mind space of that person, the person will automatically help you. Recently, because of the same exercise that I've done for the last few months, I got a chance to speak at IIM Bangalore. Prestigious IIM Bangalore. I was an alumni of IIM Bangalore once upon a time, and I used to dream standing there saying that this auditorium I'll probably stand and talk one day. Okay, I wasn't even sure about that. And this year, January, I got that opportunity. I grabbed it. I stood there, and I lived my dream. So it's all about how do you create. Thank you. So how do you create that atmosphere for yourself and then plug yourself right there, in that place. It's not that you're not coming from a bad intention. If your intention is bad, no matter what you do, let me tell you, it won't work. It won't work. Your intention has to be absolutely on spot right. And not only for me, but it has to be, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? Like that. And even today, whatever WhatsApp group I'm there, whatever Facebook groups I'm there, my first approach to anything is that, wow, this is amazing, you're doing a great job. Is there anything that I can do to help you? The moment I ask that question, I'm opening up a lot of avenues. Anything you guys want to add?
I was actually just going to add that
Yes, please.
that has definitely worked in my favor in networking. If you come from a space of giving,
Yes.
and I think it takes the pressure off.
Yes.
You're not going in there trying to say, what can I get, what can I get? Once you say, what can I give, you're just injecting yourself, and energetically it's just,
Yes.
it's pleasing. So
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree with that. And it has completely, I used to be, in the other mode. What can I get from this? How can I get help? I used to be seen as a very needy person for a long time.
It's very tiring.
It's very tiring, absolutely. But when you start saying, okay, what can I give? It's like, this is within my purview. I can give it easily without much thought.
People are very perceptive. They see it in you.
Yes.
You come with that intention of getting something, people see it in you.
Yes. True.
You have to bring that intentionship. You have to bring that intention. Then approach it.
Brilliant. I'm loving this conversation. Do we have more?
I learned from my mom.
Uh-huh.
When I was growing up, I thought she was a king. Because anywhere you went, my mom would make friends. And I just thought, what does she want? I mean, she's not in need as such, but she just found it so easy. And as a young girl, I actually used to resent that. But fast forward, one benefits so much from it. I wish she was alive for me to say I'm sorry.
Aww.
Because she was a natural. She was a natural.
Mhm.
I think now my siblings and I always talk about it, that if we knew then what we know now,
True.
we might have embraced it more.
On that note, I actually allowed, so I even in a plane I would have 4 friends by the time I went, because you go for your drinks, you walk in the aisles. but I tell you this, and I really need to record this so my 2 children will hear this. They were the most discouraging things for me ever. They would roll their eyes. Yeah. So they rolled their eyes and go, and it was so discouraging. But for a period of time, then I discovered, I said, how can I allow my children to change who I am? I got so conscious that when we would travel together, I would actually I wouldn't want to be seen talking to people. So I'm really sad that I've not been able to share that enthusiasm, pass that enthusiasm to them. In fact, I got negatively influenced by them for a certain time, and then now I'm back to knowing the whole world.
Yeah.
But that's the other thing. What you have to watch out is not to let people around you discourage you. Just stay true to the reason and intention of your networking.
Absolutely. And
Yes. And I have to tell you, Pushpa, I did not know at all till someone said, and I was sharing a woman who was passing through Bengal. I'll take just a minute. Just to show, networking. And I wanted to share that woman because she was talking about the divine energy, divine feminine energy. And I am always the one, once I hear someone good, I want to share them with the whole world. So out of goodness of heart, I said, I want this lady, and I wanted a space. And no one's willing to pay for goodness nowadays. Everyone wants everything free, right? So I said, I said to my networking, where can I go for a space? That someone, so there's someone said, there's Pushpa. There's Pushpa who will let out the space for you. And I went there, walked in, And within the first 10 minutes of meeting, we had talked about this one woman. Look at the universe. This one woman who was damaging my ex-husband, was going to. And she knew him. She knew her. So out of the whole universe, what a classic example of networking.
Absolutely.
There was this one woman who was going to damage my ex-husband, run away with his money, and I walk into the one home who knows her.
Wow.
And we could trace her, and we, make sure that he did not end up with her. So I actually changed the future of my children by just walking into
And
her
the
house.
kids love it.
Brilliant, brilliant. Super. So I think
10 minutes.
we're kind of short of time. She's giving me bad looks right now. So she's sweet again. So anyway, so I'll just end it up with a few pointers. One, your intentions while you're networking. Two, you need to know how to plug yourself in the right place at the right time for the right people, for the right intention. Thirdly, what is that you can give while you're networking? Yeah. Fourthly, when you give, you will receive in tenfold. Remember that? And it works well. Thank you so much for joining me.